Drake just tried to end his beef with a 43-song mountain of music. He lit up the CN Tower, burned down bot farms, and went full Marvel villain. But here is the part nobody is talking about. None of it worked, because while Drake is screaming into the void, Kendrick Lamar is pulling off the greatest piece of psychological warfare in hip-hop history by doing absolutely nothing. Here is exactly why silence is the only weapon Kendrick needs. Here is what most people are missing right now, and I want to make this argument clear before we go any further. Drake did not lose this beef because he ran out of bars on Iceman. Drake lost this beef the moment he had to come back 2 years later and prove he was still in it. Kendrick already won. He won at the Grammys. He won at the Super Bowl. He won in the culture. And Iceman, for all its theatrics, is not a comeback album. It is a 43-song receipt of how much Kendrick is still living rent-free in Drake's head. To understand why Iceman lands the way it does, you have to rewind back to 2011, back when Drake and Kendrick were actually cool. Kendrick was the promising Compton kid Drake invited onto the Take Care album, Brothers in the Game. That love lasted about 2 years. Then in 2013, Kendrick hopped on Big Sean's Control and called out Drake by name. He framed it as friendly competition. Drake never quite framed it that way. The temperature shifted right there, and it stayed shifted for the next decade. Fast forward to March 2024. J. Cole and Drake had just dropped First Person Shooter, and Cole made the mistake of calling the three of them the Big Three of modern rap. Kendrick heard that, hopped on Future and Metro Boomin's Like That, and said the only words that mattered. Quote, "It's just Big Me." That was the spark. What followed was the most public destruction of a rap career in modern history. Drake fired back with push-ups, then tailor-made Freestyle, where he used AI-generated Tupac and Snoop verses and got threatened with a lawsuit by the Tupac estate within 48 hours. Pulled the song down. Then Kendrick went on a run that hip-hop hadn't seen in 20 years. Euphoria on April 30th, 6.16 in LA on May 3rd. Drake responded with Family Matters, an 11-minute project accusing Kendrick of domestic abuse and claiming his creative partner Dave Free fathered one of Kendrick's children. 20 minutes later, 20 minutes, Kendrick dropped Meet the Grams, written as a letter to Drake's parents, alleging a second secret son. Then on May 4th, Not Like Us arrived. 4 minutes, DJ Mustard Beat, Festival Energy, Certified Pedophile, the chant that broke the internet. Drake tried one last response with The Heart Part 6 on May 5th, claimed his team had fed Kendrick false info as a trap. The internet bought it for about 48 hours. Then Kendrick performed Not Like Us 6 times in one night at the Pop-Out concert at the Kia Forum in Compton. LeBron James in the crowd, and the verdict was in. Drake had lost the streets. Then the Grammys handed Not Like Us 5 awards in February 2025, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year, a diss track about Drake winning Song of the Year. Let that sit. Then 2 weeks later, the Super Bowl 59 halftime show, 130+ million viewers. Kendrick performed Not Like Us live, and the crowd screamed the censored words so loud you could hear it on broadcast television. Serena Williams crip walked on stage. Game over. Now here is where the Iceman story actually starts, because Drake did not just disappear after the Super Bowl. He retreated. February 2025, he dropped Some Sexy Songs for You with Party Next Door. Cute project. Hit number 1. Did not move the needle on the conversation at all. Then in January 2025, he did the thing that, in my opinion, told you everything about his mental state. He filed a defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group, his own label. He argued they had pushed a song falsely calling him a pedophile, that the label CEO Lucian Grange had celebrated the Grammy win, and that the whole thing was a contract leverage move. A court dismissed that lawsuit in October 2025. He is still appealing, but on the legal scoreboard, Drake is currently 0 for 1. So coming into 2026, Drake had one play left: drop the music. And not just any music, drop so much music that you bury the conversation under sheer volume. He built the rollout for nearly a year. The ice sculpture stunt in downtown Toronto on April 20th, 2026, with the release date hidden inside. The Marvel Iceman OVO collab. The 4-episode live stream series. Episode 4, the night before release, he literally burned down what he called a bot farm on camera, referencing his streaming fraud allegations against Kendrick. Then he revealed the move. Not one album, 3. Iceman, Habibti, Maid of Honor. 43 songs total, dropped May 15th, 2026 at midnight. The CN Tower lit up. The whole city of Toronto turned into the album cover, and then everybody pressed play. Okay, so let me walk you through exactly what Drake said, because the shots are spread across multiple tracks, and you have to see them laid out to understand the picture he is painting. Shot number 1, make them pay. Drake raps about a magician and 100 million streams that vanished, and asks why nobody is questioning it. This is a direct callback to his UMG lawsuit. The argument that Not Like Us had artificially inflated streaming numbers. He is trying to plant doubt about whether Kendrick's win was even real on a data level. Same track, he says they have a new GOAT now, and we have to test the position. That is aimed at Kendrick's "It's just Big Me" line from 2024. Drake is saying, you want the throne, come defend it. Shot number 2, the Dust track. Drake asks what year Kendrick said he had hits, claims he does not remember one word of Kendrick's raps. This one is the pettiest bar on the album, and that is clearly the point. He is calling Kendrick musically irrelevant outside of the beef. The problem is, this is coming from the man who lost Song of the Year to one of those diss tracks. The line was always going to get clowned, but he said it anyway. Shot number 3, the height jokes. Across multiple tracks, Drake calls Kendrick short, Muggsy Bogues references, acting impressed that someone that small could even land a punch. Look, Drake has been at this height angle since push-ups in 2024. The fact that he is still reaching for the exact same insult 2 years later tells you he is recycling material. Shot number 4, and this one is the most loaded in my opinion. Drake came after the foundation of Kendrick's brand, the conscious rapper image. In the episode 4 live stream, he previewed bars suggesting that white kids listen to Kendrick out of liberal guilt, that handing out turkeys in the hood for the camera before going back to the Hollywood Hills is performance. He is attacking Kendrick's credibility as a voice for the culture. And here's the part the internet immediately clocked. Drake, the mixed-race Canadian rapper who has been accused of culture vulturing Southern black culture his whole career, is the one questioning somebody else's authenticity with the community. The math does not math. Shot number 5, the caged owl reference. Kendrick used an image of a caged owl in the Not Like Us music video as a visual metaphor for Drake being trapped. On Iceman, Drake flips it back, saying the owl never sees the cage. The owl wakes up to seize the day. Clever bar on paper, but every time he says owl, he reminds you of the video that put him there. Shot number 6, the lawsuit defense. On Bees on the Table, Drake raps that he is fighting the man, not suing a rapper. A lot of fans said filing against UMG instead of Kendrick was soft. He is reframing it as a corporate fight. Whether you believe that or not is up to you. Shot number 7, the West Coast disses. Drake hits Mustard on Too Hard for the radio, saying Mustard has not had a hit since the YG era. He is trying to fracture Kendrick's camp from the outside. Shots at the producer who made Not Like Us into a cultural moment. Now, I already know what some of you are going to say in the comments, so let me address it before you type it. A lot of you are about to say Drake actually rapped well on Iceman, and you know what? You are right. Technically, this is the sharpest he has sounded in years. The bars are tighter, the delivery is meaner, the man came motivated. As a pure rap performance, Iceman is a strong showing. I am not going to insult your intelligence by pretending otherwise. But, and this is the whole argument I am making in this video, rapping well is not the battlefield he is on. This is a narrative war, and the narrative says that Drake spent 2 years quiet, came back with 3 albums, and used a huge chunk of his marquee project to keep talking about a man who has not said his name since 2024. When you win a fight, you stop talking about it. When you are still bleeding, you keep bringing it up. That is what Iceman sounds like, not a victory lap, a second swing at a knockout that already happened. So here's the real answer to the question this whole video is built around. What is Kendrick's response to Iceman? And my read is, it is already here. You are looking at it. The response is the silence itself. Think about it. Kendrick has not posted, has not tweeted, has not acknowledged Iceman in any official capacity. Before the album dropped, his Not Like Us and Luther music videos briefly vanished from YouTube for a few hours and then came back. The internet went into full conspiracy mode, trying to decode whether that was a move or a glitch. People started spreading a rumor that Kendrick was dropping a counter album called Fireman on the same day as Iceman. That rumor got traced back to one Twitter post from a user named Frank Magana15 on April 22nd with zero sourcing. Yahoo and PG Lang both confirmed there was no Fireman album. It was a hoax. But the fact that the rumor went viral tells you everything. The culture's appetite for a Kendrick response response is so loud that people are inventing it before it happens. That is leverage. That is power. Kendrick has not said a single word, and Drake's camp is already on edge waiting for the retaliation. And here's the thesis I want to lock in for you. If Kendrick responds with a diss track, two things happen. One, the beef continues on Drake's terms, which gives Iceman retroactive relevance. Two, Kendrick has to top Not Like Us, Euphoria, and Meet the Grahams all at once. That is an impossible bar that he himself set. But if Kendrick stays silent, Drake has to sit with the fact that his most hyped album in years generated less cultural conversation than Kendrick's absence did. The Fireman rumor, a completely fake project, got more buzz than half the actual Iceman track list. That is the score. That is the receipt. So here is my call, and I am committing to this on the record. I am betting Kendrick does not drop a formal response track to Iceman within the next 60 days. Not by July 20th, 2026. He might tease something at a tour stop, he might let a producer leak a bar, but a full Euphoria level response track? My money says no. Because dropping one would be admitting that Iceman moved him. And every public action Kendrick has taken since the Super Bowl says the opposite. The World Tour, the GNX album that did not even need to mention Drake by name, the 5 BET award nominations in 2026. The man is moving forward while Drake is still standing in the same arena from 2024, yelling at someone who already left the building. If I'm wrong, and Kendrick drops in the next 60 days, I will sit in front of this camera and tell you I was wrong. That is the promise. Pin this video, save it, we're coming back to it. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Kendrick responds? Or do you think the silence is the response? Drop your call in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe so you do not miss the follow-up. Because trust me, this story is not over yet.